welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be discussing Lilith in the second house or Lilith in Taurus. Before I get into what all of that means, I will discuss the second house and what does the second house mean. So the second house rules money, possessions, values, self-worth, lending and borrowing of money, and liquid assets. This placement signifies the way a person repels and attracts money. It's important for people with this placement to draw a boundary with lending and borrowing money to promote emotional security and safety. The ruling planet for the second house is Taurus. Since the first house is ruled by Aries, it goes in chronological order: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, etc., etc. Planet is Venus, since Venus is ruled also by Taurus and Libra. Venus denotes how we love and also knowledge on how to possess material desires that we want to have. A brief explanation about what Lilith is and what it represents. If you already know what Lilith is, you can fast forward. But for those of you who do not know about Lilith or Lilith's nature, Lilith was the first wife of Adam. She is essentially the wild woman. She is the first of everything. So she was made of the same mud, intelligence, with everything about that the world knows and love about Adam is what Lilith possessed. In the mythology, it said that Adam tried to possess her or have his way with her, make her subservient to her, but since she had her own independence, she left the Garden of Eden and went to a cave in the Red Sea and repopulated the earth with demons and angels. And as you know, Eve was made out of Adam's rib. She was much more subservient, and it still went left, but in a different way. Anyways, so Lilith is basically your subconscious desires, wants, needs that aren't being heard completely, and when they're not being heard completely, they manifest in a negative light. What we want to do when we channel Lilith, and yes, men and women have Lilith, is tap into your divine dark feminine, because she has messages for you, and she is here to make sure you show up in your full glory, your fullest self, your truest expression of yourselves. Okay, so you have Lilith in the second house or in Taurus. So this placement manifests in two different ways. A person with this placement either is obsessed with luxury, money, clothes, looking a certain way, the way they appear, since as we all know, Taurus rules luxury, money, comfort, food, indulgence, hedonism, like all of the things that are pleasurable, Taurus enjoys to its fullest extent. So a person with this placement either is just like a Taurus in that way, and they love money, clothes, luxury things, having nice things, nature, etc., etc. Or it manifests as a person who never been wearing the same clothes for years, literally never bought a new outfit in 10 years, doesn't see the point in spending money on a bunch of things, doesn't see the point in wasting their money on a bunch of material possessions when they can cultivate nature in its truest form. Yeah, so the person with the second placement refuses to conform to any beauty standards, even though if you have this placement, you are naturally a beautiful and attractive person. Like, no matter what you do, no matter what you think of yourself, you are influenced by Venus, so you are influenced by beauty. Everything you touch is beautiful. The way you look is beautiful. The things you possess are beautiful, and that is your natural blessing and gift in this life. And that can cause a lot of people to be extremely jealous of you, or even try to use you or possess you or manipulate you to get closer to those things. So a person with this placement usually has a deep wound that's connected to self-worth. The way I like to see it is the first house and the second house are kind of connected in the sense that the first house is the house of self, right? and your body and the way you're presented, your image. But the second house is the house of values and possessions, in a way, it's basically the way your self is projected out and what you hold dear. How do you, the second house is essentially how you manifest the power of the first house into like a material way. Like it gives it ground to stand on. So all of the things that you find beautiful, desirable, whatever, it gives you the foundation for everything that's worthy to you, that cultivates self-worth. Yes. So you may have been bullied or rejected in your early ages over just being yourself, or like your brilliance and your beauty, and it made you be really extremely self-conscious and question your self-worth, and it might have made you self-neglectful or self-destructive. A person with this placement either has an extreme appetite or little to no appetite, and your whole life may feel like it revolves around food choices. A person with this placement has a tendency to extreme dieting because of this aspect. And again, this ties into the Taurus nature of this placement. As we all know, Taurus is notorious to be overindulgent in a lot of ways, and this placement is affected by that energy, so they deal with a lot of similar qualities. You may have had a lot of people comment on your body, which only heightens your insecurities. Even if you have a beautiful body and you are a beautiful person, the amount of people commenting on your physical appearance makes you extremely self-conscious and makes you work even harder to keep up a certain appearance, or do the opposite effect and veer them away from your appearance. But more than likely, if you have this placement, you take pride in your appearance, even if it's not with designer. You take pride in it, you take care of it, and you love your body. So this placement is connected to love and values. Like I said, Venus, Taurus connection. So with the connection to love and values, it's easy for this placement to manifest partners or relationships that block their blessings. Because people with this placement honestly don't have trouble calling money to them at all. Like the second house rules like liquid assets, right? So it's always, money is always flowing to you like water. The problem is that since love is interconnected with this, say if something's wrong with the family, or something's wrong with the relationship, or something's wrong with the foundation that you have built your thinking upon, it can manifest as your money being blocked and not given to you, or it can manifest as your money being stolen or taken away from you by loved ones or family, or it can manifest as you not getting any of the money that you deserve as a birthright until you get out of a toxic relationship, or you cut off communication with someone that you saw as family or friend, or you hold near and dear to your heart, because the connection between love and values means that when one is off, another is off. Like when one is not in flow, the other is not going to be in flow. The only way for everything that is beautiful and deserving to come your way is by mastering the art of blocking out or letting go, which is difficult for this placement. It's difficult to let go of things that no longer serve you. And I'll get more into that in a second. This placement, you may be committed to a fault. That's a common thing I've seen with this placement, a commitment to a fault. And this commitment to a fault is the repressed side of the Lilith nature, feeling undeserving, feeling like you can't get more than what you have, when reality, the shift in your perspective, actually saying, yes, I do deserve better, I am worthy of better, I have a blessed life, I have an abundant life, like I deserve more for myself, for my family, for my legacy. It completely shifts the paradigm that you've been living in. Your childhood, you may have shouldered a lot of duty in keeping the family together. Like in a lot of cases, the mother of these placements may have looked at the child as the partner instead of whoever their partner was, whether they were married or not. The mother put pressure on the child to be the breadwinner and to make sure that they give her a good life instead of doing it for herself. It also shows that in childhood, by taking on so much responsibility and basically being the backbone of the family and the backbone and light of the family, you matured very fast, but it also put a wound in your self-worth again, because now your self-worth is tied to always being there for someone else, always being generous and helpful and kind and resourceful and loving, when sometimes you still feel drained when it's not returned to you and people don't give it back to you. But it's a loop that you're in because of childhood. It's almost like your childhood memories are sabotaging your conscious efforts to grow out of that. It's like every time you make conscious efforts to grow beyond this pattern, here we go again, the childhood wound just opens up, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Not every person with this placement is close with their mothers. Some people are not close with their mothers at all, and the people who are close with their mothers are extremely close to the point where they're either best friends or like brothers and sisters or sisters and sisters. It's not truly traditional because they hold themselves almost to the same level playing field. But it's also really beautiful because y'all, if people that are close with their parents, even if you're not close with their parents, they always have their back in the end because this is a family-oriented placement. So even when Lilith is sick and tired of their family doing fucked up shit, they might put up a boundary, that your Lilith nature may put up a boundary, which is part of the maturity process, but you still, at the end of the day, it's gonna have your family's back at the end of the day. That's just who you are, that's your nature, and that's what makes you beautiful. If you have this placement, you may struggle with your partner being everything that you need in a relationship. You might get an affectionate partner, but they're not good in bed. You might get an affectionate and partner that's good in bed, but they might not speak your same love language. You might get all three of those aspects, but you don't trust them with your money. You don't trust them with your emotions. Either way it go, no matter what kind of relationships you're in, it's always something missing. But that's normal. Like, no one person will ever fulfill your every desire. It's really just making a choice of, is this person worth it? What value does this person really bring? What life can we really have together? What foundation are we building on? Is it solid? Is it rocky? Is it broken? Is it cracked? Like, the key is to have something solid, something long lasting, and that's what you want ultimately over anything else. If you have this placement, you're a generally generous person and you have no trouble attracting people at all. Like, people are naturally attracted to you. Like I said, the beauty, like, you're a beautiful person. You're blessed with Venus's beauty. Like, you're always gonna attract people towards you. That's not the problem. The problem is in your Lilith nature, by you thinking that you don't deserve more, or you have more patience. You have more patience and expect less from people naturally because of what you've been through, that you give people way more grace than an average person. So when you move in this energy and you have this placement, you can tend to settle for less, because even though you have no problem attracting people, you still will tend to settle for something that's not actually close to your level. It's interesting because if you have this placement, the Taurian energy, you have high standards for yourself, high expectations for yourself, and you value all things beautiful and loving, but you still somehow end up settling for partners who are less attractive in any way, how you shape or form you want to see that. It may be physically attractive, maybe energetically attractive, maybe their mindset is unattractive, but there's always seems to be a disconnect, and people can see it when y'all are together, that something is off with this. Can't quite place their finger on it, but people with this placement tend to make a habit of attracting people who are unworthy and undeserving of them. But that's because you think you're unworthy and undeserving of better. And if you just stick with this and work through the complications, which that's what love is, right? You work through blocks and obstacles and complications to get to the golden end of the rainbow that you so desire. The problem with this placement is your biggest fear is not getting the relationship that you settled for in a relationship. So if your biggest fear is that you don't get what you settled for, why are you settling? And it's like, you know the sex isn't fantastic, but you expect loyalty, you expect stability, you expect providing, you expect a home being built. Whatever your expectations are, if one thing about those expectations is thrown off, it throws you off the deep end, like completely fucking off. You literally go from 0 to 100 and there's no calming you down, because you've already given this person so much grace, so much leeway, so much room, so much patience, and they couldn't do this one simple thing that you don't feel like it was a big ask. So you give people less room to fail you. And it's almost like, even though you see red flags, you ignore them because most of the boxes are checked. So if most of the boxes are checked, you're like, okay, I can work with the little hiccups and challenges. It's almost like you enjoy the challenge because that's all you've ever known. You've always had to shoulder so much in every relationship in your life that in romantic partnerships is giving the same energy, where you shoulder a lot more than a partner. And ultimately, that's not what you want. That's not what your Lilith nature wants. Your Lilith nature wants balance. It wants independence. Yes, it wants love. It wants a solid foundation. It wants family, but it wants partnership. It wants it wants partnerships. It wants love. It wants sex. It wants desire. It wants money. It wants all of the luxuries of life, but not with as much of the hiccups that you're experiencing and manifesting for yourself. You have this placement, 3 things that are non-negotiable are money, sex, and pleasure. Like I said, Taurus energy, so hedonistic tendencies. I see this as shallow of you, but it's literally non-negotiable. It's beyond some placement's understanding that you need these things to feel completely alive. So if the relationship is lacking pleasure or sex or money in some way, if there's not flow in these areas, it's going to be an issue, because you need this to feel alive, you need this to fuel your fire, you need this to be your best self inside of the relationship and outside. And also, if you're blindly sacrificing with someone, again, you're settling for certain boxes and not the other boxes, you're only causing yourself to suffer in the end, and it's not good for anyone as the end result. You generally attract people who are extremely attracted to you physically, sometimes in alarming ways, to the point where a person may be so attracted to you that they will try to sabotage your current relationship because it makes them sick to their stomach to see you with someone else. Or they might wait patiently or plot on you while you're working through the last endings of your relationship to get with you. Or you may be that kind of person who gets sick to their stomach seeing someone with someone else and plots on them while their relationship is dying and waiting to be their knight in shining armor after the relationship is over. There's a lot of people who will just be attracted to you because of the beauty that you're surrounded by. So they think that they can benefit in some material way, so they latch onto you because of that factor. Some partners that you may be with that want to completely spoil you. You don't have to pick up anything at all. Or on the other end of the spectrum, the partner may be using you for your resources. You're so resourceful that they're with you because of who you know, what you have access to. You will find many people who are jealous of you and your beautiful possessions, even if you're unaware. This placement has a habit of devoting themselves to unhealthy relationships or just holding on simply too long to something because they're cherishing the good moments. But in life, there's life, death, and then life again. So something may have once brought you life, it died. Something else will bring you life again. You don't have to continue to hold on to something because of a memory. You can cherish the memory for what it is and love it and value it, and then let it go and accept something new and better into your life. This placement has a love for natural scents, so you may be the type of person who loves their partner when they're unshowered, fresh out the gym, like, or you may be the other side of the Taurus energy that's like, you need to shower before you touch me. Either way it goes, this placement loves nature. It loves anything to do with nature. Weed, camping, road trips, just soaking up the sun, watching the clouds, like all of the things. Cooking. People with this placement are very talented with their hands and really good cooks, in my opinion. Thank you for watching. If you have made it to the end, I fuck with you and I appreciate you so much. Also, I'm very curious if you have a Scorpio rising. If you have this placement and you have a Scorpio rising, please leave a comment. I am dying to know because I know 3 Scorpio risings with this placement and I want to know if that is a theme. So yeah, thank you for watching. Y'all have a great day, and as always, take care of yourself.